I don't know if it's the YouTube algorithm, but something in the air is making me think that I need to use a Digicam for photography. So a friend of mine let me have this Digicam, which is the Coolpix S4000. This thing, I believe, is from 2010. I think it's a 12 or 14 megapixel camera. It doesn't even shoot RAW, it shoots only JPEG. But I'm having a lot of fun with this freaking thing. Can we also just talk about these beautiful wildflowers, by the way? So I wanted to talk about my experience using the S4000. What is the purpose of these things? Why are they so popular? Is this an overrated trend? And what do I think about it in 2024? Let's talk about it. I am actually kind of floored. I didn't think this would actually be a good experiment. I thought I'd be like, the camera quality sucks. It's really slow. The focus is really inaccurate. It doesn't do well in low light. It actually really sucks. But if you think about these cameras from that perspective of like, why isn't this picture perfect? You may actually be missing the point a little bit. The whole point of these cameras seems to be, number one, pocketability. Like, look how freaking tiny this thing is. Here's a little size comparison. We have the iPhone 15 Pro Max here, and then we have the Coolpix S4000. So you can see that it's like the size of a credit card, and it's so freaking cute and tiny. I've been doing photography seriously, I guess professionally, since about 2007. So I've used all kinds of freaking cameras. Of course, I've used DSLRs, I've used a bunch of mirrorless cameras. Using one of these though feels really refreshing, and it does feel nostalgic. I think that's the other huge point of this thing, is the photos you get out of this look instantly like you're back in 2010. And when you slap on a little bit of Lightroom magic, you can genuinely get very film-like quality. There's something to be said about tiny tech as well, because not only is it small, but it's also very lightweight. I can easily throw this in my pocket and it doesn't even feel like anything's there really. I tend to just love tiny equipment. aps-c cameras like the Sony a6400, which I still use. Smaller cameras in general. I don't really like giant setups, which hurt my back. I don't want to really take it with me because it's so huge, and even just putting it in a bag, it's just kind of a pain in the ass. So a huge advantage of a Digicam is it's really small. You're not going to get the good quality with something older like this, but I'm not using this for good quality. I'm using this for kind of nostalgia because I used these kinds of cameras back in the day. I can throw up some photos from like 2010-ish, even before that. I remember a Nikon Coolpix P4 was in my camera bag, just like a really tiny camera that was similar to this. And I've realized over the last over 15 years of using cameras that Digicams and the quality of the photos that come out of them are some of my favorite photos that I've ever taken. It flattens out objects using the flash especially. It doesn't have a whole lot of depth of field, and everything is basically in focus or not, because the focus on this, like the autofocus, kind of sucks. But there's something fun about that, especially in the age of AI and smartphone cameras and HDR, where everything basically looks perfect. You see every detail in shadows, you see all of the highlight details, skin tones look smooth and perfect. I'm really fascinated with this idea that Digicams are like this imperfect machine. You're kind of embracing the fact that it kind of sucks. I think that's a good theoretical and kind of philosophical lesson, like a life lesson, that embracing imperfection is where you actually find a ton of beauty. Life is really imperfect. Nature is incredibly imperfect. But look how freaking beautiful it is if you just let go of how asymmetrical the world is. You see all this beautiful variety right here, but there's so much chaos here. And these cameras are just pure chaos. They kind of suck, and they're so much fun. Something about the imperfection and the tension that using an older type of technology like this causes that to me makes my brain work a little harder. I think it's really refreshing to kind of expect the unexpected a little bit. And I also feel like a huge advantage of this is when you whip one of these out versus a smartphone, I feel like people are like, whoa, it's like a Digicam, what the hell is that? So they don't really take it seriously, so people kind of pose a little silly, or they just don't pose at all because they don't believe that this is like a real camera. So I feel like taking portraits with a Digicam is so much fun. It's a totally different experience as whipping out like a giant DSLR that I feel like a lot of people are intimidated by. They might not even pose for you, or they'll change their pose because they think it's more official or something. But this is so informal, it's so impractical. It's so kind of dumb, but it's so much fun. And when it comes to the aesthetic qualities, these photos just look really interesting. They don't look like iPhone photos. They're kind of ambiguous. Was it taken on a phone? Was it taken on a crappy camera? Was it taken on a film camera? It's hard to tell with this, and I like that about it. It's not all puppy dogs and rainbows though. Of course, there are some downsides of Digicams. I think the biggest downside is the autofocus system. Like, it's just straight up trash on this thing. It's beyond hit or miss. It usually actually misses a little bit. But again, there's something fun about that. I'm trying to get more in that mindset of embracing that imperfection. The battery life on this thing is also kind of trash. I can maybe take about 50 photos or so before the battery is like very low. So you have to be like a little selective about what you take photos of. Charging the battery as well is a bit of a pain in the ass because it uses a proprietary USB type of connection. Luckily, my friend had that cable, so I can actually charge this via USB. Another huge con of this camera is it's so freaking slow. Digicams, and this camera in particular, are not the kind of camera if you're trying to get the shot really quickly or something's right there and you need that shot immediately. When this thing turns on, it takes a second. Like, it's still not even ready to take the photo, and it's been on for like 3 or 4 seconds. The interface on here also kind of sucks, and the screen is kind of crap quality. But you know what? It's part of the fun. It's part of that imperfection. If everything was perfect in this world, I don't think there would be as many good stories to tell. I don't think there would be as many good images. And if you watched all the way to the end of the video, leave a donut emoji in the comments down below. Smash all the buttons and leave a comment below on what Digicam you are using, or if you have tried a Digicam, what do you think about it? Is it all hype? Is it really fun for you? Is it total trash? Let me know down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
It was a Saturday night. I was all alone.